All right, welcome back. So today we're going to talk about multiplying binomials using tiles. So I want you first, before we actually get started, to make sure you complete the whole front side of the sheet and then the back half. And then as soon as you're done with that, it says where to tune into the video. So then you should come back here to make sure your answers are correct. All right, so here are the answers to the top review part. And here are the answers to 1 through 5. Stop the video, check them. And here are the answers for 6 and 7. And then here are the answers to the first two times tables, 8 and 9 on the back. Be sure to stop the video so you can actually check the answers. And here's the answers to the last times table. So in this one, you're actually distributing. So you're doing a monomial times a binomial. So you're taking this thing and you're multiplying it by all the terms. So x gets multiplied by that, x gets multiplied by that, and so on. So like when you get this, you're multiplying 2x squared by both terms. That's how you get those. All right, be sure to stop the video and ask if you're having trouble with any of these, because it's going to make the rest of the stuff tricky if you don't understand the times tables. All right, so let's go ahead and get started on the problems that you haven't been shown yet. So we're going to try a few like we did with number 10, just using tiles. So if you want to get some tiles and actually do this on your desk, you're welcome to, but we're just going to go ahead and just draw it today. So if you look at this thing right here is called a product mat. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the first term up here and the second term off to the side. So since the first term is x, I'm going to draw an x tile right along here. And then since the second term is x plus 2 along the side, I'm going to put an x tile and two 1's tiles. Now, when I do that, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create boundaries. So along the bottom, I'm going to draw a line, and onto the side, I'm going to draw another line. So I'm going to create a rectangle here. And so what this space is this space is my boundary of where my answer is, what x times x plus 2 is. Now you already know the answer to this is x squared plus 2x, but I'm going to show you how to do it with tiles. So now that you have your boundary, we're then going to draw lines in between where every tile goes. So I'm going to have a line right here and a line right here. And so now we're going to use this like it's a times table, right? So like if I'm going to fill in this box, well, this box is me doing x times x. Well, x times x is an x squared, and if you look, an x squared tile will fit in here perfectly. So I'm going to draw an x squared tile in there. Now the next one, this right here is me doing x times 1. Well, x times 1 is x, and if you look, a rectangle will fit right in there, just like this. And then here, I have another one, x times 1. Right here is going to be another x tile. And so when you do that, what's left here, this is your product. So the answer to the question ends up being x squared plus 2x. Now go ahead and stop the video and try number 12 on your own. So on the top, I'm going to put negative 2x's. So you're going to color them in. Try to make sure that your x tiles are the same size. So I'm going to color them up because they're negative 2x's. And then off to the other side, I'm going to have an x. And I'm going to have minus 4. So I'm going to have 4 colored in 1's. And my product mat I didn't quite make big enough. So I'm going to extend that a little bit. And then draw your boundary. So my boundary is going to go from the bottom off to the side. So now this is the boundary. This is where my product is actually going to fit. And then I want you to draw lines in between all of your tiles, including the ones on the top and all of the ones on the bottom. Now, if you were really good at drawing your X tiles and your ones tiles pretty accurately, you're going to very easily see what tiles fit there, right? So if you look right here, when I put a tile in this spot, this is a positive X times a negative X. Well, that's going to give me a negative X squared. So in here, I'm going to have a negative X squared tile. So I'm going to color it in. Somehow my color changed. The other side, I'm going to do here, X times negative X is going to be another negative X. It's going to go like that. We're going to do that. Okay, now the next one, all of these are basically going to be the same, right? So it's X times negative 1 is positive X. Negative X times negative 1 is positive X. And it's the same over here. So all of these right here are going to be negative X's times negative 1's. So these are all just going to be rectangles, which if you did a really good job, you don't actually have to draw the tile in there because it looks like these are all X's. So when we go to do these, if you don't actually draw the tile in here, as long as these actually look like squares and these actually look like rectangles, you're going to be good. Okay? So the answer to this is negative 2x squared plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8x. So the correct answer is negative 2x squared plus 8x. All right, so now we're going to apply what we just did with a binomial times a binomial, right? So we've got two terms times two terms. So if I put the x plus 3 here and the x plus 4 here, then I'm creating 4 boxes. I have x times x here, which is going to give me an x squared. And then I'm going to do a 3 times x right here, which is going to give me 3x. And then the next row, this one is going to be x times 4, which is going to give me 4x. And then the last box is going to be the 4 times the 3, which is going to give us 12. So then if we look at the product, what we have is x squared, we have a positive 3x, we have a positive 4x, and we have a 12. So if I put all of that together, that's going to give me x squared plus 7x plus 12. So now if we do it with tiles, on the top I'm going to put an x plus 3. So I have an x tile, and I have 3 ones. And onto the side, I'm going to put an x plus 4. So I'm going to have an x tile and 4 positive 1's. And once you have that, you're going to draw your boundary. So I always start by trying to draw my rectangle. And then you draw lines in between all of the tiles. So it looks like this. And what you're doing is you're creating spaces for those tiles. And so now, once you're done with your lines, you should be able to see what size everything is. So if you look, this right here would be x times x, which is an x squared tile. So this would be my x squared tile. Right here, I've got 1 times x, and so this is an x, 1 times x again, so this is an x, 1 times x again, so this is an x. So all of this, x squared, x, x, x. And then on the side, the tiles here would go sideways. So I'm going to have an x times 1, well that gives me an x, another x times 1 gives me another x, x times 1 gives me another x, x times 1 gives me another x. So all of these are x tiles, but they're just sideways now. And then all of these ones, these are all our ones tiles, right? So if you think about this box right here, that would be 1 times 1. This one would be 1 times 1. All of these are my 1 times 1's, and there are 12 of them. So if you count this up, you end up getting an x squared, which is what I have here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 x's, which is what I have here. And 1, 2, 3, 4 by 3, this all right here, is going to be 12 ones. So let's go ahead and try another one. If you look to get this box right here, we're going to do negative x times x, which is negative x squared. And then we're going to do this box, which is 5 times x, which is just 5x. And then we're going to do this box, which is going to be negative x times 2, which is negative 2x. And then the last box is going to be doing 5 times 2, which is 10. So now, if you put that all together, that would be negative x squared plus 5x minus 2x plus 10. And then since the middle terms are like terms, we could make that negative x squared plus 3x plus 10. Now when you do it with tiles, it's pretty cool. Over on the top, I'm going to go ahead and put the negative x, you shade it in because it's negative, plus 5, which is going to be 5 ones. And then on the side, I'm going to put an x and a positive 2. And so now I'm going to go ahead and create my box, my boundary, and let's draw the lines in between all of the tiles so that I can have my boxes. So now if you draw in all of your lines and you make your squares and your rectangles pretty similar, you should be able to see what goes in. So this box right here would be negative x times x, which is going to be a negative x squared. So I'm just going to shade that one in. That's representing negative x squared. And then when I go to do these other boxes, let's look over to the right. This is going to be a 1 times x, which is just positive x. 1 times x, 1 times x, 1 times x. So all of these are positive x's. If you want to draw the rectangles in, like if your pictures don't look like rectangles, but mine all do. So I'm going to count, I'm just going to leave those like that. Now the next row, I'm going to do 1 times negative x. Well, this one right here is going to be a negative x, so I'm going to color that one in. And then if I do, this would be 1 times 1, and another 1 times 1. Do you see how that's going? 1 times 1. So this box would be 1 times 1. So all of these would be positive ones. And the next row is going to be the same exact thing. I'm going to have this guy being multiplied by negative x. So this one's going to be shaded in. And then the same thing is going to be here. These are all 1 times 1s, right? So if I go ahead and look, now, instead of, if you look, here are my 5x's, here are my negative 2x's, we could go ahead and say, well, these two are going to cancel out 2 of these over here. So I'm actually just going to cross this out and say that cancels out, and I'm going to pick 2 of the x's, it doesn't matter which ones, and say those cancel out. So then my final answer, I don't even really have to do any written simplification. I have negative x squared, I have 3 x's, and I have a total of 10 ones. And so that would be your answer there. All right, now take a moment to try 15 and 16 on your own. Stop the video while you're doing it and then tune back in for the answer. So here's the answer to number 15. This one's pretty straightforward because it's a monomial by a binomial, so pretty straightforward here. This one, however, I'm going to go ahead and just explain. So notice that all of these are negative. These all end up becoming negative ones, right? So this whole bottom half is negative. When you go to write your answer to this, you should simplify it, right? So remember, a positive x tile and a negative x tile, these guys will cancel each other out. So your final answer is you have here 2x squareds, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 5 x's, and negative 3 1s. So my answer is going to be 2x squared minus 5x minus 3. So now try 17 and 18. Stop the video, check back in, and make sure you have the right answer. And here's the answers for 17 and 18. For number 17, I got the negative 2x because I canceled out 2 negatives and these 2 positives because those cancel out, and that's how you're left with 2 negatives. Make sure you shaded everything in correctly. Number 18, everything is positive, and so there's the answer to that one. Go ahead now and try number 19 and 20. Again, stop the video and tune back in when you have the correct answer. And here are the answers to 19 and 20. This number 19 only is x squared minus 9 because these tiles, these three cancel out these three x tiles. All right, if you're at all confused, make sure you stop and ask for help. If you're doing good, then you should get some actual tiles and try this on your desk with actual tiles. Okay, so this next set of problems, I want you to actually get a product mat, and I want you to get some tiles, and I want you to try these next 6 problems just actually physically using the tiles rather than going through and doing them by hand. Now, if you're at home and don't have tiles, go ahead and do them by hand. But if you are at school, grab some tiles, grab a product mat, and do them. There is another video, it's super short, it's like 4 minutes long, that will actually work through A and B with the tiles. It's video number 2 on your table of contents. So finish these up, watch the other video, and good luck with everything.